Welcome to Livingston, Montana. Located in the south-central part of the state, Livingston is the gateway to the north entrance of Yellowstone National Park. And it's home to Livingston Park County Public Library, which originally was a Carnegie Library built in 1904. A major renovation and expansion was completed in 2005. I'd like you to meet Lona Woodkey, one of two youth librarians at Livingston Library. Lona heads up children's services while her co-worker Lisa Suki handles middle school and high school services. Here's Lona in the wee little office she shares with the teen librarian. Lona has been the children's librarian here for a little over a year. She's a retired elementary school teacher, so she's got decades of experience in working with kids. Lona's duties include collection development for the children's room, preparing and implementing children's programs, creating and delivering around town promotional materials for her children's events, repairing damaged materials from the entire library, covering books, putting audiobooks into plastic albums, and otherwise preparing new materials for shelving for all collections of the library. And then, of course, there's desk time in the children's room. Story time is Lona's favorite part of her job, and she does it really well. What you're seeing here is the preschool story time, which happens on Fridays from 10:30 to 11 a.m. Lona is doing her hello song right now, where she greets each child by name. After the hello song today, she's going to get down on the floor with the kids and tell a story using the flannel board. In addition to the preschool story time, Lona has a weekly baby lap sit session on Thursdays from 10:30 to 11 a.m. As far as other kids programs go, once a month Lona visits a nearby elementary school and leads a literature-based after-school program. Also once a month, two kindergarten classes from a nearby school visit the library for a story time session with a craft project. Okay, now, Lona's well into storytelling mode with the flannel board at this point, and I want you to watch that little toddler guy in the back. A little later, you'll see Lona reading to the kids from a book, and he's pretty much bouncing around the room the whole time. But whenever she was using the flannel board, he was riveted. Storytelling is a powerful communication tool. Getting back to Lona's other kids programs, about once or twice a month, a K-8 homeschool cooperative group visits the library, and Lona helps the kids with information literacy skills. And then, of course, in the summertime, Lona has the K-5 summer reading program. On the day that I shadowed Lona, the library didn't open until 10 a.m., but she was there at 8:45 getting set up for her day. She prepared for the story time that would be starting at 10:30. She made copies of the flyer for Family Read Night. She delivered those flyers around town, repaired books, did a little shelving, and then it was time for story time at 10:30. Preschool story time lasted about 45 minutes total, and then she spent about 45 minutes helping families in the children's room find and check out materials. The day that I spent shadowing Lona was one that was a little unusual for her. Not only was it the day of her once-a-month visit from the two kindergarten classes, she also had the homeschool cooperative group scheduled to show up. Essentially, Lona was hosting 4 different kids' events that day. So, after preschool story time, at 12:30 the first kindergarten class showed up. Lona did a story time with them on the theme bears, and she had them make a bear bookmark. At 1:30, the second kindergarten class arrived, and Lona repeated her bear story time and craft. At 2:30, the homeschool cooperative showed up. After working on information literacy skills with the homeschool group for about an hour, Lona did a little bit more book repair, and then it was time for her to go home. I asked Lona what a more normal day would look like for her, and she said that she would more commonly be covering books, repairing materials, making flyers, and walking the floor in the children's room, just being available to help people. Here are some things that I learned from Lona. First of all, the flannel board is brilliant. And then action rhymes like finger plays, they're fantastic. I used to think that these things were cheesy and I didn't want to do them. Well, I was wrong. They're great for language development and kids love them, from toddlers on up to kindergartners. Might as well get used to this. There are never going to be enough hours in the day. Here's Lona repairing a book when she really needs to be preparing for a busy event schedule. Lona ends up doing a lot of event planning at home on her own time, and this is a drag. She recommends maintaining healthy boundaries at the workplace to avoid getting burned out. See this filing cabinet? Lona has 5 drawers full of files arranged alphabetically by topic, and in each file are flannel board cutouts, cut and tell stories, draw and tell stories, book lists, name tags, stickers, craft projects, action rhymes, stick puppets, etc. that a person could use to have a kids event prepared on any given topic at a moment's notice. What I learned from Lona was that you should start building yourself a resource base to draw on. If, for example, you see a good idea in school library journal, photocopy it. If you run across a story that would transfer easily to the flannel board, go ahead, make those felt cutouts. Start filing this stuff away by topics, and someday you'll be really glad you have it.
Don't lie to me now. You know you're jealous of that filing cabinet. Well, it only took her 30 years to put it together, so you'll get there someday, don't worry.
In any kids event, remember, it's about the kids and what they need. It's a good idea to have a sort of script or a list of activities to follow so you remember what you're doing, but always keep a finger on the pulse of your audience. If the kids are getting restless, it's time to pack it in. Don't make them sit through one more picture book just because that's what you had planned. Lona does a fantastic job of this. Also, if you tried a certain activity and it worked really well, or you read a certain book and it was a flop, make notes on your event script or list and stick it in your file. That's good information for the next time you get around to that topic. In fact, Lona also puts the day's date on her script before she files it, and then she knows how long ago she did an activity, so she's not repeating herself too often. Finally, I learned from Lona that youth librarians are lovely, lovely, lucky people for whom boredom is not an occupational hazard. Thanks, Lona.